So what I would like to invite you for an exploration is how breathing, heart regulation, and circulation, blood circulation, are connected with the bone marrow, with the mitochondria in each cell, and how the awareness of all this other level of organization in our body um, needs space and needs to be left alone and not interfered with. And that's the kind of the side effect of this kind of um, journeys, if you want, we call somatization. So like you use your imagination to direct your attention in your body. It's very, very regulative for the autonomic nervous system because you cannot do this somatizations in a sympathetic state. You need to, and it happens automatically. You need to just open your perception and regulate your system in a way that you can receive new information, let in new information and new sensations uh, into your body. And if you think, am I doing it right? Or should I do it like this? Is it better like this or like that? If you then then it's interfering with this process as much as it's interfering with the function of your immune system. So if you find a comfortable place, you can sit or you can lean somewhere or you can even lay down if you want. Um, but for a moment, keeping your eyes open. So it's about this kind of resting I was talking about, but resting much more in the sense of shifting your awareness and shifting your state of activation or of being in that moment. And this shifting, uh, first of all, is related to the awareness. If we often we are also when if we work in this field of care or therapy or even as dancers, we are also used to shift our attention to other people, to observe, to evaluate. But now it's like turning the flashlight, turning it in the other direction and using our capacity to focus on ourselves. So directing, or I'm going to direct your attention um, to different places and use your imagination to direct your attention. So starting again, just putting, no, in maybe even before, just to notice whatever is there in this moment, what's calling your attention. So it's bringing your focus to whatever is there in this moment. So not yet to say, okay, feel this or feel that, but opening your attention to let the things emerge. And it can be very simple. It can be a thought, can be a memory, an image, or it can be a sensation, the contact with the chair or with the floor. Can be Something pleasurable can be something painful, or something you notice in this moment. And at the same time, noticing your breathing. And again, without changing anything, just noticing your breathing, observing your breathing. How do you inhale? How do you exhale? Not forcing anything, not controlling the breathing, just letting it happen as it happens. We breathe all the time. We don't need to pay attention to breathing. It's automatic and autonomic. And as you observe your breath, your breathing, notice also little tonal changes in your shoulders, around your ribs, in your upper body. So when you inhale, what happens when what do you feel when you inhale? What do you feel when you exhale? Is anything changing, or it stays completely the same? And then lift your right arm a little bit up, just a few centimeters, and let it go down again. Just a little bit, and let it down again. So very, very simple way, activating the muscles in the arm to lift it and then rest it again. And just do a few times, maybe 3, 4 times, and really letting it fall a little bit. So not necessarily lowering it, but dropping it. It's a difference between lowering and dropping. And then again, observe your breathing. And if you notice any difference between the two shoulders. And then do the other side. Lift the left arm a little bit and drop it. A little lifting and dropping. 3 or 4 times. And then again, just observe what's happening with your breathing. And notice what little tonal change is happening when you inhale and when you exhale. And then see if you can make inhale and exhale the same length. Not a big change, but just making inhale and exhale the same length, You can say 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, like however you want, but that the inhale and exhale, you count the same number. And when you inhale, lifting your arms a little bit, but without losing the contact with where your arms are resting. And when you exhale, you let go. So it's not really lifting your arms, but it's just the tonal change. You inhale, you activate the muscles a little bit, and with the exhale, you let go. But inhale and exhale, the same length. And then with your imagination, and maybe it can be visual, but it can be include also other sensations. Follow from your mouth, in the back of your mouth, through your throat, down the trachea and the bronchi into your lungs. Just this image of a inverted tree, like the bronchi, they divide more and more to the bronchioli, and till they end in very, very small little tubes in the alveoli, the little bubbles in the lungs, where the gas exchange is happening. Gas exchange meaning that the oxygen is diffusing through these membranes into the blood, and the carbon dioxide is diffusing from the blood into the lungs. And using your imagination to go all the way, following all the way down into these little bubbles where the gas exchange is happening. And these bubbles, these alveoli, they are kind of hugged. It's like little fingers. On one side is the oxygenated blood, and on the other side, the carbon dioxide blood. So that is how the diffusion is happening. And from the side where the oxygenated blood is then collected, all these little blood vessels collecting and going back to the heart. Go from the lungs to the heart, and from the heart it goes into the body. The oxygenated blood goes into the body. And it's very much also like a tree with many, many branches. First, there are like the aorta, the very big blood vessels, and then when it goes further in the periphery, they get smaller and smaller and smaller, so they can reach every place in the body. And this oxygenated blood is going to diffuse in the spaces between the cells, and then diffuse through the membrane of the cells into the cells. And from there, the oxygen is going into the mitochondria, which are the power plants of the cells which produce all our energy. And just stay for a few moments with with this image of inhaling and exhaling, oxygenating the blood going into the periphery, going to the intercellular spaces, going inside the cells. Then the carbon dioxide is leaving the cells, goes back into the veins, goes back to the lungs, from the lungs again in the heart, in the periphery, from the periphery back to the heart, from the heart in the lungs. So there is a constant um, exchange happening. And notice, how is your breathing? Are you still having the in and the exhale the same length? And if you want, and maybe your state allows now, you can make the inhale and the exhale maybe one count longer. So if you have had three counts inhale, 3 counts exhale, you can make maybe now 4 counts inhale and 4 counts exhale, or if you can go from 4 to 5. And still noticing if you, with the inhale, your tone increases a little bit, and with the exhale, you can release the arms and the shoulders. So with each exhale, you release a little bit more the tone, let go of some holding in your arms and shoulders. But maybe also in your legs, in your head, in your neck, in other places. And if you want, you can also, with the exhale, you can also make a little sound, just like letting your throat and your lungs vibrate a little bit with the exhale. Mm. Just a gentle humming, which is which allows you to feel more also your throat and the branching into the lungs. But maybe you feel this vibration also in your arms and in your hands. Mm. And maybe the exhale becomes even longer without changing the inhale. So maybe if you have 4 counts inhale, the exhale can be 5, 6, or 7, can be longer. It doesn't matter. As long as the exhale is longer than the inhale, it's okay. Mm. And then bring your attention to your skin. Maybe also your skin has a certain tone. So you feel maybe with the exhale also your skin can release and even a layer underneath the skin. So there is the surface of the skin, and underneath the skin there is a layer of fat. Maybe also that layer can release. And then underneath that layer of skin, this fat layer of the skin, there are the muscles. And if you like, just to move a little bit your shoulders and move a little bit your arms, you feel like how the skin is sliding over the muscles. There is mobility between the skin and the muscles. And underneath the muscles, there are the bones. And there is a sliding between the muscles and the bones. And especially if you want in the arms, if you just turn your hand, rotate your hand in and out, you feel like the muscles are sliding around the bones. But do it in a way that so you still stay attuned with your breath, with your breathing. So there's still the breathing can be the in and exhale can be an equal length, or the exhale can be a little longer, or you can still do some humming or vibration. Mm. And then also your bone has a skin, which is called the periost. And this skin allows the sliding of the muscles over the bone. So the muscles are not sticking to the bone. The tendons are sticking to the bones, but the muscles are sliding over the bones. And if you want, you can put your other hand, like one arm is moving, the other hand is touching the forearm, and you can feel this movement. You can, if you hold your arm a little bit, you can feel the bones moving inside the flesh. And you can feel the bones because they are very concrete. They're very hard in a way compared to the flesh, to the skin, to the muscles, to the fat. It's all soft, but then the bone is more hard and more clear because it's more hard. And what really feel this hardness comes from the most outer layer of the bone underneath the periost, which is the compact bone. It gives the bone stability and allows this feeling, or gives this feeling of not rigidity, of solidity, maybe of like a solid structure where you can put weight, you can clearly move your arm in space because your bone gives it a certain direction, a certain vector, a certain clarity. And this is coming from the compact bone. And it's very clear when you move like that that there is the bone and then there is a joint. And the joint allows movement between the bones. Just adding to this clarity is like, like a puppet or something like that. It's like Pinocchio has a very clear feeling where there is movement and where is the movement happening and when there is this bone in between the joints. And where is the flesh around the bone? And how the flesh can also just relax. The flesh can hang off the bones. And then there are also other layers of the bone. So if you continue just to move the way you like to move, so you don't need to be sitting, you can also be rolling or standing or change your position in the way you like. There is another layer of the bone which is called the spongy bone or the trabecular structure of the bone, which is more space. It's like the long bones are built like a cathedral, with the arches, there is a structure which transmits the forces in a spiralic way in the bone. But there are many, many spaces in between. It's a kind of, if it would be in open space, it would be air. But these spaces of the trabecular bone or spongy bone, these spaces are filled with the bone marrow. And the bone marrow is the origin of all the blood cells. So all blood cells in the body come from the bone marrow. There is a constant production of blood cells. And there is a need of a constant production because blood cells usually don't have a very, very long lifespan. They're constantly produced. There's an incredible amount of blood cells produced every day, around 500 billion blood cells every day. And there are red blood cells and white blood cells. And the red blood cells are the ones which are carrying the oxygen from the lungs to the cells, to the mitochondria, while the white blood cells become a variety of different immune cells. So our vitality, like oxygen and transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide in exchange, contributes greatly to the nourishment of the body and the vitality of each cell. And the white blood cells contribute to uh, the immunity, which doesn't mean only the defense system of the body, like we said last time. Immunity means much more a mode of communication with internal and external substances, bacteria, viruses, and so forth. But the red marrow, which is in adults, is mostly in the sternum, in the pelvic halves, in the clavicles, and in the vertebrae and the yeah, in the vertebrae. So if you want, if you put your hand on the sternum, if you like, or on your pelvis, or just use your imagination to contact the bone marrow or the quality of the bone marrow. Some people say it's like lava, it's like it's the source of life, of our vitality. And when the bone marrow is not working anymore, like in leukemia, then the consequence is lack of oxygen, like anemia and immune deficiency. All kind of problems can arise from that. But it's a constant renewal of our energy, of our blood cells. So how do you feel that bone marrow in yourself? And maybe it's not what you would call a sensation. It's more like if you want a more poetic way how your unconscious mind is talking to you, like in a dream or in an image or in a vision or something like that. What if you just open yourself to whatever emerges from this image or emerges as an image from the bone marrow, from this source of life? And bones are highly vasculated. We might think our bones is something dry because when we see them, dead bones or chicken bones or something, they look very different than they are in the living body. There is blood going and coming a lot, so they are very, very vasculated. And for good reason, because they bring uh, the blood cells into circulation and they bring the immune cells into circulation. They're connecting everything back to the heart, to the lungs, and allowing this constant exchange, constant renewal of our life forces. And life forces in these two ways, in the great diversity of immune cells, and in the uh, supplying the body with blood cells, which are red blood cells and other blood cells, which are responsible for carrying oxygen to the cells and carrying carbon dioxide to the lungs. And maybe you can still notice also your breathing and if anything has changed and how your tone feels right now, how there are these subtle tonal changes with inhaling and exhaling. And maybe you notice also how your state has changed in this exploration, in this somatization. How if you feel now tired or refreshed, or you feel balanced in a different way, you feel also what can be called coherence, which is a very important term when there is when we shift the state, when the breathing becomes more regular, then the heart also starts to find a rhythm which is regular in an irregular way or irregular in a regular way, because the heartbeat is changing all the time, adjusting to the breathing, adjusting to the level of activation. So the irregularity of the heart is also a measure for your state. When the heart gets too irregular, you are out of sync, you're out of coherence. But when the breathing and the heart are in a smooth way interrelated, then there is this coherence, and it's a indication for coherent and parasympathetic state. And the breathing and the imagination are one of the ways to connect to this coherent state. If you like, you can come back also to humming, creating some sensations, creating vibration, and anything which comes up for you now from this last half hour or so, anything, any image which was important for you, either mitochondria or the breathing or the alveoli, the gas exchange, or the bone marrow. As much as also any thoughts or images which are present for you in this moment. How is this place which called your attention in the beginning, which was drawing your focus, where you put your focus in the very beginning? How does it feel now? And then just take a few more minutes to continue what you do, or to move, or to rest, to stretch, or to bring this exploration to a closure for yourself. Or if you want to take some notes, write something down. Or if you're with another person, you want to exchange your experience. Just to add one element, which is with every breath, you connect to the environment in a way that we are depending on the oxygen produced by plants, and the plants are depending on the carbon dioxide we are exhaling. So there is a constant exchange with the environment of oxygen and carbon dioxide, like in a larger picture, a symbiosis with the plant life, with the chlorophylla, with the chlorophyll life, and we have the mitochondria life. But also is a constant exchange with the bacteria, viruses, which all floating around us, and with each inhale and exhale, we are part of that. We become part of that atmosphere we are creating together.